Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Threezero Ultraman figure unboxing and review video. Now today we are going to be taking a look at none other than Shinjiro in the Ultraman suit based off the Netflix anime. Now I personally am a huge fan of the show, so yes, I couldn't be more excited to get this guy out here. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and a points-based reward system. If you do like seeing 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review videos though, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as brand new content goes live on the channel. What we are going to do now is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. Here of course we have the box art, and it's relatively straightforward. An image of Shinjiro in his suit on the front of the box, Ultraman up top, Ultraman on the side, and then a logo with him in the suit on the back of the box. Now if you do flip open the front cover, you can see the figure inside, and you guessed it, another Ultraman logo. But we're not really here to dissect the box, we're more here to check out the figure inside. Now technically I already do have a 1/6 scale version of this suit, so I am curious to see how the Threezero version stacks up alongside the Diecast one I already own. First in-hand impressions though are relatively positive. I'm already feeling that yeah, there is a ton of diecast, at least down here in the feet. What we are going to do now though is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Here we have all the parts and pieces, and unfortunately you once again do not get a display base. I didn't realize that by them calling this line Fig Zero that it meant zero display bases. It's a very weird choice. Now you do get some energy effects for his bladed weapons. These can be slotted into the underside of his gauntlets, and you will see that a little bit later on. To go along with them, you have multiple smaller pieces. These ones are meant to be used with the blades, they simply slot in place, and these are meant to be used after the blades have been retracted. I do like the very bright chrome silver. You do get an array of hands, as you would expect, and these are painted in that very same chrome silver. They pick up the light very nicely. You do have some decals on the back, and the palms are fully detailed, including a bright blue metallic section right there front and center. What we are going to do now though is get Ultraman himself out here and take a closer look. Here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And for the most part, yeah, I'm really happy with how this guy turned out. Does that mean he's perfect? No, we will discuss that a little bit more in just a second. But from head to toe, he does look very seamless. And animation accurate, which is what I was hoping for going in. The bright silver is very bright, the cherry red is nice and glossy but metallic at the same time, and the proportions are very stylized. But this is based off an anime after all, so that makes perfect sense to me. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. Here we have him up close and personal. And for the most part, this guy does tick a lot of my boxes. It doesn't mean he's perfect though. One of the main things I like here is that he does look very seamless. But the stuff that they had to do to get there might not necessarily have been worth it. More on that though in just a second. Starting off with the head sculpt first, I really like it. It's sharp, it's angular, the details are crisp, the bright chrome silver is suitably metallic and reflective, and you do have this piece out the back that can move up and down. The only complaint I have is that the eyes do look kind of dead when the LEDs are turned off. The only reason I mention this is because for other figures in the very same line they did painted lenses, and they didn't just rely on the LEDs. I think for the main marquee character from the series being Shinjiro, they should have absolutely done some frosted white lenses. But if that doesn't bother you and you're going to have the LEDs turned on anyway, feel free to ignore that comment. The rest of the suit looks awesome. The panel lines have been, well, panel lined, and you do have a couple of moving parts and pieces for the gauntlet. Of course, to activate his blades, you can open up the sides, which do feel a little flimsy on mine. Now, it does warn you not to flex them too much and not to twist this piece left and right, so just make sure you're being careful. Now, to actually install his blades, you pull that section back and remove this inner piece. This also feels a little bit risky. Now, you do have a round peg, but a rectangular slot. You are supposed to slide this in, and when you do so, it frictions in place very securely. You then take this little piece, slot this in the end, and sandwich everything together. But as you can see, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Once you have it in there though, it's a very convincing effect. I do like those translucent blue pieces. I probably will be displaying my figure with these on in the collection. Now, the complaint that I have, the thing that I was alluding to before, is the waist section. Up here for the abs, they've used this rubbery material. Now, for the silver, it's probably going to be totally fine. But coming down here to the hip skirts, as you can see, they are already starting to fade, and this guy is brand new. This red is supposed to be the same red as down here on his thighs, but it's kind of reading more of an orange. This is only going to fade more and more until eventually it starts to look pink. This is what collectors mean when they refer to the pink panty syndrome. Threezero, you should have known better. It's the year 2022, and if you're putting out figures like this, you shouldn't be using technologies that Hot Toys have stopped using years ago because of this very thing. So yeah, I'm not super happy that this is already starting to happen. I'm probably going to need to repaint these red sections so once again they will match these thigh plates. But speaking of the thighs, the glossy red metallic is gorgeous, and it does feel like there's a little bit of diecast in them. Coming down to the shins, you do have a couple of moving parts and pieces that can slide up and down to get out of the way of the ankles for articulation, but you do also have a little bit more rubber. I don't really mind about the silver sections being rubber though, I think these will survive just fine. Now, most of the diecast I believe is down here for the feet. They feel very cold to the touch, which means he should be nice and planted in the display. On the underside, you do have some details, plus they have been fully panel lined as well. So as I said, yes, I do like that this guy is almost entirely seamless, but the stuff that they had to do to get there might not be for you. As promised, I did want to show you what he looks like with the LEDs turned on. And with the eyes illuminated, he actually looks properly alive. They are a very bright white LED. For the chest symbol, you do have a blue LED, or you can switch it to red for the overload function. The blue light is much brighter, but that's just the nature of a red LED. It's going to be a little bit more dim. I would have been perfectly happy with a switch out symbol piece to have it either red or blue. That way you aren't solely relying on that LED. And lastly, you also have a light up effect for his specium beams. This is a gimmick that I'm totally fine with, because if you don't want to have them lit up, those translucent clear beam sections that slot in will do the job just fine. But if you do want to have him stand out just a little more in the display, or have him lit up for some figure photography, then yeah, you can have them fully turned on. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have Ultraman and Ultraman Suit 7. And as you can see, they are almost the same height, except 7 is ever so slightly taller, as I think he should be. Shinjiro is a high schooler and 7 is a full-grown adult, so this makes perfect sense to me. Now they have done a completely new standalone mold for each character in the line, which is a very good thing. That means the proportions are specific to each character, same thing can be said with the height and the accessories, plus the way they actually peg onto the bodies are different. 7 has that swap out thigh plate with the big honkin' sword, and Ultraman has his blades that attach to his gauntlets. Everything is character specific, which makes me so very happy. Just going over articulation. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm gonna be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I am willing to go. Now, starting off with the head sculpt, it's on a ball joint at the base of the head and another at the base of the neck. Combined going forward the full way, going back to there, swivel and then pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there, and yes, the shoulder pad is on a hinge, so it should get out of your way just fine. They do go forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, a double bend at the elbow that does go past 90, plus a hinge and swivel down here for the wrist peg. The torso will crunch forward and back at the midsection, but also at the waist. Combined going forward to there, going back to there, swivel and then pivot side to side. The legs are on soft ratchets and they do go forward to there, they will go out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, a double bend at the knee that goes the full way, a ball joint down here for the ankle, plus toe articulation. Just wrapping up on Threezero's Ultraman. Now going into this, I was very excited. I'm a fan of the show and I'm a fan of this particular suit, which I guess is a good thing because this is the main core suit in the series. Have Threezero translated it well into 1/6 scale? Well, for the most part, yeah, I think they have. But at the same time, they've made some very interesting choices. The first one is not including a display base. Threezero, please. Going forward, a display base is an essential addition. I understand this is your Fig Zero line, but I don't think the zero should mean zero display base, if that's what you are intending. The other interesting choice is the rubber that they've used for the waist section. On mine, it's already starting to fade, and this guy is brand new. He's the reissue of the anime version. Now, yours might be potentially faring a little bit better in the box when you get it, and it could be perfectly fine. But seeing as though mine is already starting to fade, it's not a very good sign. If you decide to do another version of this Threezero for Season 2, please use hard plastic rather than soft rubber. You can add some articulation on those hip skirts so they can move up and out of the way, rather than having to have them squish when you move the leg up. But other than that, I'm very happy. He comes with a ton of LED features in the chest, head sculpt, and in the gauntlets, plus those beam effects, and usually with Ultraman figures, we don't get a ton of effect pieces, so I'm pretty darn happy to see them here. So at the end of the day, can I recommend him? Yeah, as long as your copy doesn't have that pink panty issue, you're not going to be disappointed with Shinjiro. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.